Innovating Education Learning World in association with WISE, an initiative of Qatar Foundation.
The Arab Thought Foundation estimates that most people in the Arab world spend less than 6 minutes a year reading a book. Some projects are fighting back. We look at two initiatives in Poland and Jordan which are promoting reading amongst young people, and we talk to an expert. How early can you start teaching your child to read? 1-year-old, 6 months, at birth, or before your baby is even born? This Polish project encourages reading from the start.
Marta and Krzysztof, a young Polish couple, spend some time every day reading books to their young daughter. They're sure it's a good investment for Pola's future. But when is the right time to start? According to one TV advert, it should be as soon as possible. Irena Kozminska set up ABC 21st, a foundation to encourage Polish parents to read to children 20 minutes per day, every day.
We have started our campaign over a decade ago, and the conviction behind was that we need to raise readers. And if we want them to read, they should love reading. And the only effective way of making them love reading is to read to them from the very beginning.
At the neonatal intensive care unit at Torun Hospital, 2 hours from Warsaw, they believe in starting young. Doctors and nurses support the campaign and encourage mothers to read to their premature babies while keeping them close to the body. It's a natural and effective way for mother and baby to bond, and for the youngsters to develop listening skills. Reading aloud to children, even when they can read themselves, is also the easiest way to prevent functional illiteracy. That's when someone's reading abilities aren't enough for most work and normal daily life. So Irena even takes her campaign into prisons. At Grudziądz jail, 100 kilometers south of Gdansk, there's a unit for mothers living with their children up to 3 years old. Irena encourages them to read stories to their children regularly. Schools are also getting involved, with nearly 3,000 taking part in the project. And the foundation is claiming success among parents who were prone to leave their children alone in front of a video. After more than 10 years of campaigning, they say more than half of Polish parents read to their children regularly, and 20% do it every day. And Pola has already learned to enjoy books.
So, if early reading is a good thing, how do you go about it? Do you teach letter sounds, word recognition, or what? Let's meet Alain Bentolila, a language professor at Paris Descartes University.
Alain Bentolila, you are a linguistics professor at Paris 5 University and scientific advisor at the National Reading Watchdog. There's plenty of controversy about learning to read, supporters of the whole word method against syllable learning, for example. What do you think?
All methods of reading should begin by teaching the child the connection between letters and groups of letters and the corresponding sounds. Except the whole word method, and frankly, I think very few people are using that these days.
Quelle est la correspondance entre lettres et groupes de lettres et sons qui leur correspondent?
So what's most important in the learning to read process, the sound of the letters or their meaning?
Quand vous commencez à apprendre à lire, en France,
when you start to teach someone to read in France or elsewhere, you have a child of at least 6 years old. During the first 6 years, he's learned to speak and to understand what others are saying. He's built a mental oral dictionary.
Qu'est-ce que c'est un dictionnaire mental oral?
It's a dictionary with a collection of sounds. For example, table corresponds to a meaning. And that's how, when you send him the word table, he'll receive its constituent sounds and he'll be able to understand the sense. So you understand that everything depends on how rich the mental dictionary is.
What has to be done for teachers to apply the latest advances put forward by researchers on learning to read and the brain?
The issue, if you like, is that teacher training is very badly done. The idea that you can take the results of theoretical research and apply them in the classroom is wrong. You don't apply them. If you did, it would be catastrophic. Teachers and researchers have to find common ground. That is, work together, and work together with respect. That is, the researchers should understand that the practical world has the final word in the teaching process. And the teachers should understand that research results can clarify their practices. The image of a researcher who takes his results and gives them to a teacher saying, put those into action, does not work, and never has worked.
Professeur Alain Bentolila, merci.
Merci à vous, en tout cas, merci. Allez, au revoir.
And if you're wondering, the 6 minutes of reading per year in the Arab world I was talking about earlier equates to about half a page. And that's shocking. But one woman in Jordan is fighting back.
In Amman, the capital of Jordan, a group of children sit in one of the city's mosques listening to the story of the day. At first glance, it seems a perfectly normal scene. But in Jordan, it represents a cultural revolution. Here, 1 child in 3 has never read a book for pleasure. 6 years ago, Rana Dajani saw Arab youth turning its back on reading and founded the association We Love Reading.
I found out that the reason children don't read, or adults, is not because they don't have enough books, although most people think that is the reason. The real reason that children do not read is because they are not read to. They do not live the experience of being read to.
Her idea to encourage youngsters into the world of books is simple. It's to bring travelling libraries into mosques. Each week there's a reading, and then the children can choose a book to borrow.
Before I didn't like reading. I'd only read maybe 2 or 3 books, but things have changed. Now I love it. If I'm bored, now I reach for a book. Even my teachers in school have noticed. And what's more, I get top marks.
To fully appreciate Rana Dajani's achievements, you have to leave the city. She can't teach every single one of Jordan's mothers, so instead, she trains reading ambassadors to carry the word. To date, there are more than 500 of them, with more than 100 libraries established across the country. These are the women with the task of introducing children to reading, with a few proven hints and tips.
Rana tells us how to love reading and how to make children love reading. We follow her instructions, which tell us how to read in a different voice for the children. It's a completely different approach than the scholars' books say. It's to make reading as interesting as possible and to hold the children's attention.
We Love Reading has rekindled a love of books among the youth of Jordan, and now the model is being exported to Egypt, Lebanon and Saudi Arabia.
Well, that's it for now. Let us know what you think about reading. Is it the bread of life or just a bore? We will be back next week. Goodbye for now.
Learning World in association with WISE, an initiative of Qatar Foundation.